Types of sin.
1. Adultery, Matthew chapter 5 verses 27 to 28 and 32, Matthew 19 to 9 and 18, Mark chapter 10 verses 11 to 12, Luke chapter 16 verse 18, Hebrews chapter 13 verse 4, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 9 to 10, Mark chapter 7 verse 21, John chapter 8 verses 1 to 11. 2. Anger, Galatians chapter 5 verse 20. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 26 and 31. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 4. Colossians chapter 3 verse 8. James chapter 1 verses 19 to 20. 3. Anger with one's brother, Matthew chapter 5 verse 22. 4. Arrogance, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 20. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4. 5. Bitterness, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 31. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 15. Romans chapter 2 verse 24. Romans chapter 3 verse 14. Acts chapter 8 verse 23. James chapter 2 verse 7. 6. Blasphemy, Mark chapter 8 verse 38. Acts chapter 18 verse 6. 7. Boasting, Romans chapter 1 verse 30. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. Galatians chapter 5 verse 26. 8. Brutality, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 3. 9. Brother going to law against brother, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 1 to 7. 10. Carousing, Romans chapter 13 verse 13. Galatians chapter 5 verse 21. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3. 11. Clamor, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 3. 12. Complaining, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 31. Colossians chapter 3 verse 13. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 9. James chapter 5 verse 9. 13. Conceit, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 4. 14. Coveting, Mark chapter 7 verse 22. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 5. Acts chapter 20 verse 33. Romans chapter 13 verse 9. 15. Cowardice, Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. 16. Deceit, Mark chapter 7 verse 22. Acts chapter 13 verse 10. Romans chapter 1 verse 29. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 10. 17. Defrauding, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 7. 18. Denying Christ, Matthew chapter 10 verse 33. Luke chapter 12 verse 9. 1 John chapter 2 verses 22 to 23. 19. Desiring praise of men, John chapter 12 verse 43. 20. Disobedience to parents, Romans chapter 1 verse 30. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. Titus chapter 3 verse 3. 21. Divisions, 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 10. 22. Divorce, Matthew chapter 5 verse 32. Matthew 19 to 9. Mark chapter 10 verses 11 to 12. Luke chapter 16 verse 18. 23. Drinking parties, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3. 24. Drunkenness, Romans chapter 13 verse 13. Romans chapter 15 verse 13. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 10. Colossians chapter 3 verse 13. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3. 25. Eating the bread or drinking the cup unworthily, 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 27. 26. Effeminacy, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9. 27. Enmities, Galatians chapter 5 verse 20. 28. Envy, Mark chapter 7 verse 22. Galatians chapter 5 verse 26. Titus chapter 3 verse 3. 29. Evil thoughts, Mark chapter 7 verse 21. Matthew chapter 15 verse 19. 30. False witnessing, Matthew chapter 15 verse 19. 31. Fathers, provoking children to wrath. Colossians chapter 3 verse 21. 32. Fearfulness, Matthew chapter 10 verses 26, 28. 33. Filthiness, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 3. 34. Foolishness, Mark chapter 7 verse 22, Titus chapter 3 verse 3. 35. Foolish talking, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 4. 36. Fornication, or sexual immorality, Mark chapter 7 verse 21. Matthew chapter 15 verse 19, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9, Galatians chapter 5 verse 19. 37. Greed, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 19, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 3, 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 14. 38. Lust, lusting, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3, Titus chapter 3 verse 3. 39. Haters of God, Romans chapter 1 verse 30. 40. Hatred, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 3, Titus chapter 3 verse 3. 41. Homosexuality, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9, 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 10, Romans chapter 1 verses 26 to 27. 42. Hypocrisy, Matthew chapter 23 verse 13 and 23, Matthew chapter 25 verse 23, 27, 28, 29, Mark chapter 12 verse 15, Luke chapter 12 verse 1, Romans chapter 12 verse 9. 43. Idolatry, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9, Galatians chapter 5 verse 20, Revelations 21 verse 8, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 5. 44. Immorality, fornication, Galatians chapter 5 verse 19, Revelation chapter 21 verse 8, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 3. 45. Impurity, Galatians chapter 5 verse 19, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 3 and 5. 46. Jealousy, Galatians chapter 5 verse 20, 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 3, 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 20, James chapter 3 verse 16. 47. Jesting, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 4. 48. Judging, Matthew chapter 7 verses 1 to 5, Romans chapter 2 verse 1, Romans chapter 14 verse 13, Luke chapter 6 verse 37, James chapter 4 verse 11. 49. Knowing to do good, but not doing it, James chapter 4 verse 17. 50. Laying up treasures on earth, Matthew chapter 6 verses 19 to 21, Matthew 19:21, 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 9 to 10, Luke chapter 12 verse 21. 51. Living for pleasure, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 4. 52. Lovers of self, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. 53. Loving another person more than Jesus, Matthew chapter 10 verse 37, Luke chapter 14 verse 26. 54. Lusting after a woman, Matthew chapter 5 verses 27 to 28, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3, Matthew chapter 18 verse 9. 55. Lying, Revelation chapter 21 verse 8 and 27, Revelation chapter 22 verse 15, Ephesians 4:25, Romans chapter 9 verse 1, 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 31, Galatians chapter 1 verse 20, 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 7. 56. Malice, Romans chapter 1 verse 29, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 31, Colossians chapter 3 verse 8, Titus chapter 3 verse 3, 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 1. 57. Man praying or prophesying with head covered, 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 4 to 16. 58. Murder, Revelation chapter 21 verse 8, Mark chapter 7 verse 21, Matthew 5:21, Matthew 10:19, Matthew 19:18, Luke chapter 18 verse 20, Romans chapter 1 verse 29, 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 15, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 15, Matthew chapter 15 verse 19. 59. Murmuring, complaining, Colossians chapter 3 verse 13, 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 9, James chapter 5 verse 9. 60. Pride, Mark chapter 7 verse 22, 1 Peter chapter 5 verses 5, 6, James chapter 4 verse 6, Matthew chapter 23 verse 12, Luke chapter 14 verse 11. Luke chapter 18, 14. 61. Quarrels. James chapter 4 verses 1 to 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 11. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 23. 62. Reviling. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 10. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 23. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17. 63. Sensuality. Galatians chapter 5 verse 19. Mark chapter 7 verse 22. Romans chapter 13 verse 13. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 21. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 3. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 19. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 2. 64. Slander. Matthew chapter 15 verse 19. Mark chapter 7 verse 22. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 31. Colossians chapter 3 verse 8. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 13. Romans chapter 1 verse 30. 65. Sorcery. Galatians chapter 5 verse 20. Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. 66. Speaking against the Holy Spirit. Matthew chapter 12 verse 32. Luke chapter 12 verse 10. 67. Stealing. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 28. Matthew chapter 19 verse 18. Mark chapter 10 verse 19, Luke chapter 18 verse 20, Romans chapter 2 verse 21.
68. Strife, quarreling, Galatians 5 verse 20, Romans 1 verse 29, Romans 13 verse 13, 1 Corinthians 3 verse 3, 2 Corinthians 12 verse 20, 1 Timothy 6 verse 4. 69. Swearing an oath, Matthew 6 verses 34 to 37, James 5 verse 12. 70. Swindling, 1 Corinthians 5 verse 10, 1 Corinthians 6 verse 10. 71. Thievery, theft, 1 Corinthians 6 verse 10, Mark 7 verse 21, John 10 verses 1 and 8, 1 Peter 4 verse 15, Matthew 15 verse 19. 72. Treachery, 2 Timothy 3 verse 4. 73. Unbelief, lack of faith, James 1 verse 6, Mark 9 verse 24, Hebrews 3 verses 12 and 19, 1 Timothy 5 verse 8, 2 Corinthians 6 verses 14 to 15, 2 Corinthians 7 verse 13, 2 Corinthians 4 verse 4, Titus 1 verse 15, Revelation 21 verse 8. 74. Unforgiveness, Matthew 6 verses 14 to 15, Mark 11 verses 25 to 26. 75. Ungodliness. Romans 1 verse 18, Romans 4 verse 5, Romans 5 verse 6, 1 Timothy 1 verse 9, 2 Timothy 2 verse 16, Titus 2 verse 12, 2 Peter 2 verses 5 and 6, 7. 76. Ungratefulness, 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, Romans 1 verse 21, Luke 6 verse 35, 2 Timothy 3 verse 2. 77. Unholiness, 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, Hebrews 12 verse 14. 78. Unrighteousness. Romans 1 verses 18 and 29, Romans 2 verse 8, Romans 6 13, 1 John 1 verse 9, 1 John 5 17. 79. Wickedness, Mark 7:22, Luke 11 verse 39, Acts 8 verse 22, Romans 1 verse 29, 1 Corinthians 5 verse 8, Ephesians 6 verse 12, 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 10 and 12, 2 Timothy 2 verse 19. 80. Woman cutting her hair short, 1 Corinthians 1 verses 14 to 15. 81. Woman with her head uncovered, 1 Corinthians 11 verses 5 to 16. 82. Woman speaking or teaching in public, 1 Timothy 2 verses 11 to 15, 1 Corinthians 11 verses 33 to 37. 83. Wrath, Ephesians 4 verse 31, Colossians 3 verse 8, 1 Timothy 2 verse 8.